Hey guys, this is Femi Lamvers, and here's exactly how I've been able to make over $1 million flipping land. So you can just copy me, and this is exactly what I do if I was just starting. Now, over the last few years, I've been able to start, grow, and build a land flipping business that will, net me seven figures this year, and has netted me seven figures in the past couple of years as well. And I mean, it's really allowed me to live my life by complete design. I mean, go wherever I want, buy whatever I want, take care of my family, all the above. And now to the point where I'm just able to focus on really taking a couple meetings a week. And on top of that, doing larger entitlement deals and you just making more legacy and larger plays and also funding other people's deals. So I've already built out the processes in my business to where it will consistently do several deals per quarter. And so now I really take a lot of my capital, invest in other deals, and invest in larger plays that really take care of my generations and generations to come after me. And so those are things that I'm primarily focused on right now. But it didn't come without the vehicle of the land flipping business. And here on this video today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and how to build a land flipping business to get to multiple six figures profit per year or seven figures profit per year. They're both extremely attainable. And I mean, honestly, if you haven't gotten there yet, it's just because you haven't been able to simplify it. And I think a lot of the things that, you hear in the industry is it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and it'll have you thinking, okay, well, I should do this, or I should do that. Or, okay, I should do this. And you start to think that like you should go left, right. I mean, you just don't know what to do because you may be listening to 1,000 different people on this. Many people who don't even run the businesses anymore or do very many deals anymore at all. So it's really important to first of all understand that this business is ever growing and changing, but the principles will always remain the same no matter what. And so the principles of that are market selection, marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions. So pick really good markets, right? We need to pick really good markets where demand is 50 to 100% more than the supply. That is extremely important. I need my demand in any given area to be far more than the supply because when I go to list that property there, there's more demand, there are more buyers, and there's not a lot of property that is listed, right? So if I don't have a lot of property that's listed and I'm one of the few, and on top of that, my marketing is so much better, well, then I'm going to sell faster than the average property that's on the market. Now, market selection is also extremely important because we don't want to be picking properties where, we're selling for 20 or 30 or $40,000. We really want to be on average selling properties for anywhere from, 60 at a very minimum, 60 to $250,000. If you're sticking in that area, you're going to have a business where you're able to do 100, 200, $300,000 per quarter. And, I have clients that are currently doing $100,000 in a quarter, right? I have my client, Chris, just last quarter, he did $130,000 in a quarter. And $120,000 of that came from the month of March. And so he'll probably do anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000 net profit this year. And this is all because of some simple principles. Now, with marketing, people struggle because they don't send out marketing consistently. And they don't send out marketing consistently because they don't get the responses that they were hoping for when they initially started marketing. And so I track KPIs for every marketing campaign that I send. I'm tracking conversations that we're having from this, offers that are being made, offers that are being accepted. I'm tracking things that actually go under contract and things that actually close once they go under contract. I mean, one of the biggest indicators of a successful marketing campaign for me is the amount of conversations that we're consistently able to have. If you're able to have a lot of conversations, then you're talking to your leads. You're getting deals moving down the pipeline. And this is one thing that people mess up on because I need to just talk to as many people as possible, right? And there are many times where you don't want to waste your time with the seller, so you need to know how to spend your time. That first 2 to 5 minutes of the call, you need to know exactly how to qualify a seller so that way you know if you're wasting your time or not. This is very important. But besides that, you need to be having as many conversations as possible. And even the ones where they're cussing you out and we talk to them and they're upset with the offer, I still count that as a conversation because I know that it's leading me to getting a deal done. Now, with marketing, it's also very important to split test your marketing as you grow and as you scale. So, I split test a multitude of different templates in mail. I split test a multitude of different templates in my text messages because I want to figure out what is going to lead to the best responsiveness from a seller. And then I'm tracking that through the kind of quality deals that we're getting and the kind of seller profile that I'm consistently getting in. Now, you also have acquisitions and you have dispositions. Acquisitions is when we're talking to sellers, we're getting deals under contract, making offers, closing deals, and moving deals into escrow, into title. And then we have dispositions where we actually list the properties with really great marketing, really good listing descriptions, photos, drone shots, depicting a story to the highest likely buyer profile, and then selling the property. Now, for all four of these pillars, if you are not doing more than $250,000 net profit in your business right now, you have a constraint in one of these pillars. Your problem is you're not able to identify that constraint. That's why you're not able to do more than $250,000 in a year in your business. Anyone that's doing under that level has a very specific constraint that they have not solved yet. It could be you're not marketing consistently. So maybe you only sent out a certain amount of mail one time and then you stopped. So if you're not weekly marketing, you don't have a business. You can't turn off your marketing. If you're not sending out text daily, you don't have a business. You can't turn off your marketing. You cannot. And so if you need to save up money, if you need to do, whatever you have to do to consistently send out marketing for 6 to 8 months, you must do that. You must do that. And then on top of that, when you actually start getting your leads in, how are you taking care of those leads? Are you actually setting follow-up tasks every single time you get off the phone with the lead? Most of the time, what I find when clients come to me that have this problem that I'm describing, they're doing under $250,000 a year in their business. If they're doing that, then usually what I find is that they're not setting any follow-up tasks at all. Usually what I see is a bunch of old deals and a bunch of old leads that they didn't work at all. And it's just dead money sitting in your CRM. And it's like, I think people are so often looking for the low-hanging fruit and not understanding that where the real money is made is in the follow-up and in the continuously going after a seller and continuously following up with them. That's where the real money is made. The real money is not made in the low-hanging fruit. Yes, you might make some money. You're going to make a couple $100,000 a year, but I've made the most money on deals that I've chased down for a couple of years in a row and continuously following like touch points. I'm talking about 70, 80, 100 touch points. And if you don't have that many touch points or you're not willing to do that, well, then of course you're not doing $1 million a year. Of course you're not. If you're looking and picking and hoping for, a hot lead all the time, of course you don't have a 7-figure business. This doesn't surprise me, right? And then you expect the result, but you're not willing to put in the work to get the result. And you're also not identifying the constraints in your market selection. Okay, well, what kind of markets are you actually choosing? Do you know your market like the back of your hand? Do you study your market? Do you study the properties that have sold? Or are you just looking at a number? Are you just looking at some AI number that tells you that this is a good market? Or are you actually studying the market to figure out what the average of property there is here selling and at what price point and what kind of topography and what kind of road frontage? What kind of game, if it's hunting land, what kind of game is on average on these kind of properties? So that way, when the leads come in, I can actually talk to the seller about it and understand the area and not have to no, am I actually studying my markets before I choose them? Am I talking to brokers in the area? Am I building relationships with brokers in the area before I even get to the point where I'm calling for price comparisons or comps? And these are many things that people don't do, which is why there is a select few of people that do this, that flip land, that do really well. Because the only difference that separates, I'd say the top 3% of land investor from the rest is doing these things, these intangibles that most people won't do. And everything that I say in all these videos is an amalgamation of all the things that I've learned along my way and just continuously doing deals year after year, regardless of cycle. And one thing I can tell you is that regardless of what's happening, if you consistently do the things that most people are not going to do, you'll consistently have better results, bar none. And so identify your bottlenecks. Okay, well, am I following up enough? On average, do you know what your average follow up time, your average follow up touch points is with your sellers? Do you know? Let's say, let's say the top 25 sellers, say 25 sellers come to your CRM. Do you know how many times on average you're going to follow up with those 25? For most people, surprisingly enough, it's like one or two times. I mean, how do you expect to run a business if this is how you take care of your leads? From then, I mean, how are your actual phone skills? How are you framing a seller? How are you talking to them? How are you understanding their past situation? How are you understanding where they're going? How do you understand how do you understand where they are now so that you can help them to where they're going? Most people don't think about any of this. It's just get on the phone. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? I can give you $55,000 for your property. Oh no. Oh, okay, bye. It doesn't work like that. If you can make your phone skills and make your sales skills, I mean, top 1% sales skills and get really comfortable on the phone, you're going to blow everyone else out the water. I mean, you just will. You just will. Because most people are extremely anxious and nervous when it comes to talking to people and being on the phone. And so if you allow yourself to practice your calls, get better on the phone, have those uncomfortable conversations, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, then when it comes for you to do that 6-figure deal, you'll be able to have the conversation. I don't get nervous about having conversations with, big banks and attorney, like a lot of the things that I'm doing right now, a lot of the opportunities that I'm stepping into as I grow. If this was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I probably would have been nervous to have a lot of these conversations. But I know that in order to build my empire the way I want to build it, I mean, I have to have conversations with people, with high level people. And I don't get nervous about it because guess what? I've had thousands of conversations with anyone you can imagine because I've done this for years. Now, on top of that, it is dispositions and marketing your properties correctly. So you shouldn't have bland photos. You need to have photos with vibrance. You need to have photos that tell a story. You need to have descriptions that tell a story. You can't just have one sentence. Every single time that you sell a property, think about, how do I sell this 50-acre parcel of land like it's a Rolls Royce Cullinan? Think about what your dream car is right now. And as I'm talking, look at the dream car. Go to the website, scroll through it, see all of the marketing pieces that they put there for you. They're telling you a story. Ferrari tells you a story. Rolls Royce tells you a story. And it's a very clear story. You can literally feel, see, and even like touch your way into the car. Like you can feel it. Like they want you to be able to, it has to be an immersive experience. And so when you think about from just a consumer standpoint, you are selling land to consumers at a very basic level, right? So how do you make the consumer experience for any buyer? How do you make it as immersive as possible? Well, I need to have really good photos. They need to be able to see the property in person. So I need to have a land specific broker that can take them through the process. We need to have all the answers to their questions. There shouldn't be anything about this property that I don't know. Nothing. So in your due diligence, it needs to be ironclad. And what that'll also do when your due diligence is ironclad is make sure that you never lose money on a deal. It might take a little bit longer, but we will never lose money on a deal. So you start thinking about your business like this. Okay, where along the way might I be having constraints? Let me look at my listings. Let me review my calls. Most people don't even record their calls. I mean, if you're not even recording your calls, I can guarantee if you're a person currently that's doing under $250,000 a year in your business, you're probably also not recording your calls. How do I know this? Because in the last couple of weeks, we have brought on a few clients and one on one clients, and many of these people don't have their calls recorded. And I'm like, where did you learn from? And, no problem. It's not, obviously, they came to me so they can fix their problem, but it does, it's like, I feel bad because I'm just like, man, like you paid someone to learn how to build a land flipping business, but they didn't even tell you to turn on your call recording. And I'm like, who are these people learning from? I digress, right? But identify the constraints that could be in your business, right? So whether it be in your marketing, how is the copy in your mailer? How is it written? Is it written like everything else? If it is, that's probably why it's falling to the wayside. With your marketing, what kind of stamps do you have on the front? When a person sees your envelope, what does it say? Anything? Or is it just generic? These are all things that we identify. This is how we identify constraints. Because, look, ultimately, if you're not making the money you want to make, it's because you have a constraint somewhere along the way in your process. Now, once you've identified those constraints and corrected them, you can now build processes off of a system that is not broken. So if you can build processes off a system that's not broken, now you can begin to delegate those processes off to people who will do it for you and do it even better than you and be specialists at it. And that is exactly how you build a business that does anywhere from, multiple six figures in profit per year to seven figures plus per year. That's how you do it. If you want my help implementing these exact same systems into your business that I just described, if you want to watch more videos about how I've built my business, click on this video. It will explain how I do deals consistently, how I show others how to do it, and how I fix people's land flipping businesses and help them scale to seven figures in profit. This has been Femi Lambers, and I'll see you guys in the next video.